How's it going, folks? This has just occurred 28 minutes ago. They have banned Palafin and Iron Bundle from Generation 9 OU. I'm happy with this outcome. Honestly, forgive me for complaining in the previous video that there was no support for banning Palafin. I half expected that maybe they wouldn't do it. Like, people would argue that it's not, that you can counter it, or, you know, that its base form makes it balanced or something. But I think that now that the meta's settled a bit more, Palafin has had time to like adapt to things that counter it. We can see that it is like too powerful for OU pretty clearly, and the decision was unanimous here. We got 9 out of 9 bans for it. Iron Bundle was not as unanimous with 7 out of 9. Some people did choose not to ban, but it was still, I think 7 out of 9 is the minimum to get something banned. And surprisingly, I didn't think it would be such a controversial statement in my previous vid, on the radar vid, that to say that Palafin should be banned. A lot of people in the comments were like, well, I countered Palafin with this thing, like Meowscarada can counter it with Flower Trick, because it crits through the defense boosts. Or Amoonguss counters it, Dondozo counters it. Like, yeah, there's counters to it, but that doesn't... I think that a common misconception is that because you can counter something, therefore it's balanced. That's not really the issue. The issue is that, you know, when something is too centralizing and the counters to it are too specific, and then even when there are counters to it, the Pokemon Palafin has counterplay to, like, I think every possible counter, really. Maybe the hardest counter is Dondozo. That guy was a pretty hard counter, and he's a solid mon in general. But, like, you can run other Pokemon that pressure Dondozo on the team. It's not... Just because, like, something can be countered doesn't make it balanced, folks. The concept of a 60 power water priority move is an insane, like, power creep on something with such high attack, such high bulk, such good anti-stall breaker mechanics with boosts in bulk up and then taunt in, like, to disrupt stuff. It's got great coverage. It's got Drain Punch, gives it sustain to 1v1 like every wall. It's got Tera type to defy logic against potential counters. Even that Meowscarada thing doesn't work if the Palafin just Tera types, you know? And I know you could say that about a lot of stuff, but I think the OU Council agrees with me. Many agree with me that Palafin was too nuts for OU. So we've seen it be banned. Which I think is good. Now, you know, I think that, like, Chien-Pao wasn't banned here. But now that I'm thinking about it, with Palafin gone, I think Chien-Pao becomes more counterable. Because having to counter, like, both Palafin and Chien-Pao on the same team, it's, like, a lot to consider. There's, like, so many offensive powerhouses to consider in this meta that it can be hard, but I think maybe we'll see less of a strain on team building, because we required, like, anti-water stuff, and then, you know, Amoonguss obviously gets destroyed by Chien-Pao. Gastrodon and Clodsire get destroyed by Chien-Pao. You know, it's hard to have a counter to both Palafin and Chien-Pao. There is Dondozo, but then Dondozo can get overwhelmed by other things. And speaking of things that overwhelmed Dondozo, Iron Bundle has been banned, which might affect my personal win rate. I've been using this guy on, like, every single team I use, because he's that insane, but... You know, I'm someone who definitely gravitates towards, like, what I think is good and trying to abuse it. And to me, Iron Bundle has been... As soon as I, like, started using it, I was like, this guy's going to go on every team. This guy is just a no-brainer to put on anything. If you watch my channel in the past few days, it's just me making hazards, going to Gholdengo to block their spin, and then somehow getting Iron Bundle in, and then I'm faster than the entire game, I have perfect coverage, and I have a free pivot move, and I got boots to be immune to status, which is not much of a drawback. I don't need any other item, really. Like, Life Orb, not necessary. My offensive power is insane anyway. Yeah, Iron Bundle was very, very... It's a no-brainer add to the team. And I guess it was similar, you know, now that Fluttermane got banned. This was the next fastest of the broken things, so Fluttermane actually kept this in check a little bit, and now this was able to run rampant. So I wonder what we'll see next as like the premier fast offensive guy. Chien-Pao is still a great pick, but on the special side we've got Iron Valiant is popular, I know. What do we got, folks? We've got like Sword by Special Attack. We got Chi-Yu. Iron Moth might see some usage now. I guess we'll have to see, folks. We will have to see. But in any case, I agree with this ban. I do think that Iron Bundle is a bit too difficult to counter. And let's talk about the stuff that didn't get banned. We've got Cyclozar with actually quite a lot of support for wanting to ban it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you only need 2 more gamers to choose Cyclozar. I bet the people who didn't ban Cyclozar are thinking, maybe we don't ban Cyclozar, but we ban Shed Tail. Maybe we need to give it more time. Which I guess is fair. And, yeah, it can be easy, like, to be too hasty with bans and balance decisions in competitive games. Not let the metagame settle. Even though there's stuff that's clearly broken. And now I think all the stuff that's clearly broken is, like, out of the game, basically. Fluttermane was a no-brainer. I think Palafin was a no-brainer. Iron Bundle as well. And, yes, Cyclozar. Shed Tail is an insanely strong concept. Maybe Shed Tail is the problem, not Cyclozar. Although without Shed Tail, Cyclozar is basically not a Pokemon. But then, if Cyclozar's banned, will people just start using Orthworm or something else? Like Smeargle with Shed Tail or something? I don't know. We'll see. Interestingly, zero votes towards Chien-Pao. No one thinks Chien-Pao is a problem. Little bit surprising. I mean, I think we need more time to evaluate Chien-Pao, actually, now that I've thought about it. I think that now that Palafin's gone, the meta will shift a little bit. Maybe Chien-Pao is more handleable now. It's still crazy. Like, its ability is nuts. Nerfing defense. Its stats are crazy. It forces Sucker Punch coin flips. And, yeah, it's great with boots on it. It also has a really good move pool, to be honest. It's got, like, Brick Break, anti-screens technology. It's got Sacred Sword, which can beat boosters. It's got Ice Shard, Crunch. It's got a lot of options. But, yeah, we'll give it time. I agree with this. If we're banning Palafin, give it a sec to evaluate Chien-Pao. Roaring Moon, no votes to ban, which I agree with. I said in the previous vid, it is really strong, but I think it is actually... I haven't had much problems answering Roaring Moon. Like, any defensive wall or even like a... I used Fortress on a lot of my teams. It has Sturdy and Kustapberry. It can answer this with Body Press. The fact that it's weak to Body Press and its default typing, and there's stuff like, I use a lot of Slitherwing with First Impression. I use a lot of... Like, there's a lot of priority moves in the game to answer this. And, like, Dondozo answers it. Corviknight answers it decently enough. I could see it being overpowered maybe in the future. In a world where more stuff is banned. Maybe, but we'll have to see. No votes to ban Gholdengo, which... yeah, I think I agree with that too. Gholdengo, its ability is annoying. And it's getting annoying because it's on every team now. It's such a free... I do think that, like in previous metagames, the matchups between like hazard setters and anti-hazard mechanics like were a bit more nuanced. You had like Defiant to deny them from defogging, or maybe you just take advantage of the turn they spend defogging to get a bit of momentum, or like you pressure their defogger some other way because you know the common defoggers are like Tornadus, so you have something that owns Tornadus. It's kind of like in this gen, it's like everything has boots on it. There's a bunch of stuff that can make hazards so quickly. And then there's Gholdengo that just blocks defog, which is a totally new thing that we haven't seen in the game yet. The whole thing with defog, I thought, was that it is like a reliable form of hazard removal, balanced by the fact that it removes your own hazards, so It fits in a more defensive style. But, yeah, Gholdengo is kind of a crazy new concept, and we're seeing it abused a lot. So maybe it could be a problem in the future. Maybe this metagame is just going to be all about Gholdengo. I don't know. But yeah, we're seeing Gholdengo like everywhere. And then Annihilate is one. I didn't even realize this was on the radar. I've seen it a lot more recently. Like, it's really good, actually. The bulk up set. A lot of them Tera Water or Tera Steel and then become like a really hard thing to kill. Really good win condition. I think it's a really good Pokemon. But I wouldn't say... I'm a little bit surprised this got a vote to ban over, like, what I consider to be more metagame defining Pokemon like Chien-Pao and Gholdengo. I haven't had too much issue answering Annihilate. It is strong. It can win games. I've lost to it a lot, but I've also beat it a lot. I don't feel like I have no options against it, or it's like centralizing the meta in a unhealthy way where I have nothing to... where I have to like use something super specific to beat Annihilate. I can like naturally take it out. You know... Most of my teams are running ghost types. The fact that Rage Fist needs to be charged up, I think, is like a cool design where, you know, if I'm using a Gholdengo, their Rage Fist is only going to be 50 power, so I'm going to match up and threaten their Annihilate. They can Terra type, but then that's a resource they're wasting. And then I have like some response to their Terra type. It used to be Iron Bundle, actually, I used to use with Freeze Dry. Now I might have to use something else. What the heck? Okay, now that Iron Bundle's banned, Annihilate is insane. Because they're Tera Water, and where's my Iron Bundle with Freeze Dry? Can't do that anymore. I'm only kidding. Something like Meowscarada gets it. If they bulk up and then Tera Water. Maybe they do different Terra types. I'm noticing Terastal is really effective on these defensive Pokemon with type weaknesses, where changing to a different type really benefits Pokemon with crazy defensive stats. One that I'm surprised by is like Avalugg, which historically not a great Pokemon because it's Ice type as a defensive mon, but being able to change your type on Avalugg is crazy. And, you know, stuff like Dondozo will Terra type to Steel, or Annihilate will Terra type, and just completely become some type that isn't weak to much. Yeah, that's a strong use of Terra. And something else in my previous video that a lot of people were against is the concept of banning Terra. I agree for now, but I do think it's like something we should think about maybe. It does need more time. We'll see how we go. I don't like compare it to Z moves from Gen 7. I think it's a worse mechanic. I think it's like Z moves were more committal. You had to run a specific item. It's a one-time use thing. There's counterplay to it as well. You know. It did create a little bit of variance, but if you're running some specific Z move, like, I don't know, Gracium Z on Heatran, that's a commitment. You're wasting a move slot on, like, Solar Beam or, I don't know, Flyum Z with the move Fly. That's like a one-time nuke that you only get once. So, and then you have to run some crappy move. Terra has no commitment associated with it at all. I know that both players get it, which kind of balances it out, but... You know, if you're in some winning position, bulking up with something like an Annihilate or Cursed Dondozo, and then you just become the perfect type where they can't do anything, that's maybe a problem. But we are kind of adapting to it a little bit, where, you know, we're starting to understand the common Terra types people use, like Terra Flying Roaring Moon, Terra Water Annihilate, Terra Steel Dondozo, whatever. So, yeah, it does need more time to evaluate. I do think that something Attack on Samurott said in a Discord was that, fellow YouTuber, was that if we ban Terra, the meta will just be boring. Which I kind of agree with. Maybe we have to just accept Terra because it's the only thing giving this gen a bit of identity. And it is kind of fun in a way, like... It's a better mechanic than Dynamax, I'll give them that. Dynamax was not a good mechanic at all. Dynamax was way too powerful. It wasn't cool. It just... Yeah, there was no, like, interesting gameplay that came from Dynamax, really. There kind of was, but everyone just abused Max Airstream. Like, Tera at least has, like, way, way more interesting applications of it, and we're seeing, like, it's really affecting the metagame in more interesting ways than Dynamax did. But I will say that it's a worse mechanic than Z moves, for sure. And if it was banned, the meta would be a bit more boring. Tera has given this gen something fun, a little bit. Okay. Thanks for watching, folks. I'm sorry to the Palafin fans who are now in shambles because, you know, you counted Palafin once, so therefore it's fine. Anyway, goodbye. Stay tuned for more Gen 9 ladder content. I'm posting vids every day. And I'm excited to build in the new meta where there's no bird and dolphin terrorizing us at every turn. Are you guys excited? What do you think's going to rise in the ranks now that Palafin's gone? Do you think something like Clodsire is going to get worse? Something like... I don't know. Corviknight is getting better when it was already good because it doesn't have to worry about losing to Palafin as much. It can act as a defensive wall more reliably. Let me know what your thoughts, folks. Thank you. Goodbye.